Hi guys, this is my first podcast of this whole series. I'm starting this podcast with 10 PhD students from Pakistan who are studying abroad. And our first guest is Muhammad Nadeem, my brother from Pakistan as well, and who is nowadays doing a PhD in virology at University of Lübeck. And formerly he was an IDEX scholar at Ferris Sackler University. He did his master's in infectiology and then he navigated his path to Germany to a University of Lübeck, and now he's doing this PhD. But he is an employee, not a normal student, because PhDs here are considered as young scientists, independent young scientists, rather than students. So he will tell us about his research and the things. We will ask him a few questions about his life here. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Tell us about your research and what you do as a young scientist here in Germany.
So my PhD project is titled Interplay between Hepatitis C virus and Hepatic Lipid Droplets Mosaic, and basically my project is focused on understanding how hepatitis C virus hijacks the lipid droplets during the infection. So lipid droplets are basically fat storage organelles in our bodies, and they are hijacked by HCV in the infection, but we do not know how. So my project is focused more on mechanistic side of HCV infection, so by which we can better understand and stop the infection and design potentially new antivirals for treatment of hepatitis C virus.
Regarding your schedule, you do the scheduling of your task one day in a week? Are you, when you go to the lab, for example, in the morning, you sit in the office on your computer and you do some journaling maybe? Are you are prioritizing your tasks in the day? Like how is it? Is pre-calculated things every day on your, maybe you do it on weekend? It's like a meal prep day. One day you sit and you do these things, or maybe it's already it's variable as well. We know that every day is not predictable in science, because someday you have the results and mostly you don't have you don't see the results which you are interested in. So how do you do it in one day maybe over the weekend, or every day you are putting some things on your schedule?
So it depends, yeah, like you said, for some experiments we are pretty much sure what we are expecting on next day or the day after. So for that it's mostly fixed and I don't have to reschedule anything. And then for some I have to really think on the same day that how and when I have to and I can do it. So yeah, but it's not like planning on the weekend for Monday. It's at least Friday of the week for next week experiments. So yeah, it really depends, but mostly it's always pre-scheduled everything because we have lots of meetings, lots of presentations, lots of seminars. So we really have to stay on that specific time for that experiment. Otherwise, the other things would be misscheduled. Yeah.
And do you plan and execute these experiments on your own, or you do it along with your supervisor maybe? Like how often do you discuss with your supervisor? Maybe daily or maybe once in a week? What's the frequency?
So in the start of my PhD, I just started PhD last year. It was, of course, in the start little difficult for you to get to know and understand the project, and that's why in the start I had more frequent meetings with my PI, like sometimes even every day. But then as much time passes by, you get to know better the project and then you can design the experiments yourself. And then of course in the start, even after I designed the experiment, I used to discuss with my supervisor because the experiments that we do, it's costing lots of resources, and we cannot it's not nice to just go and do that experiment without any advice. So that's why in the start I used to get lots of advice from my supervisor, because doing experiment in BSL-3 cost lots of money. And yeah, but then as much time passes by now, I don't meet my supervisor every day for his advice, but we have our lab meeting on Wednesday every week, where we present our results and experiments from previous 1 week. And then we have our institute seminar on every Tuesday, where all other PhD students also present their results and data in in an organized and scheduled way. And then we have some more meetings as well. So there's lots of places where we have the chance to discuss.
So your day is very busy, like the schedule is very tight, and if you tell someone that I don't have time, so it's very true that you are actually busy because some people were complaining about this thing from Pakistan. Some of the students they were asking for guidance, and I told them that okay, I will review your CV maybe on weekends, and they thought maybe I'm a little bit rude, but now they know how the PhD schedule looks like on the weekend and also in week. Sometimes on weekends we also have to go and check the cells and things because when you're working with the live cells, you may not know what will be the result. And sometimes the cells just um, like go away, or maybe sometimes they are in stress due to these pH, maybe temperature, maybe carbon dioxide. A lot of things can happen. But one specific question: is the doors to your supervisor office open for you if you need him sometime, maybe which is not scheduled meeting? Can you just go and ask for help? Maybe is it open for you?
Yeah, so my supervisor, she's really kind and nice lady, and she always tell us from day one that whenever you have any question, you want to discuss something, you can come anytime to the lab. And whenever I have something really urgent, so I go and I just knock the door, and she stops whatever she's doing, and she quickly just moves and looks at me and asks me to sit down. And whatever I have concern, she's always there to talk with me, and it's really kind of her. And especially in the start, I really needed her to show me some techniques, some experiments, and we had to do them together in the BSL 3 because I didn't have any BSL 3 experience before my PhD. So she was always there even for an experiment. For instance, it would be like 7 days, so she was always we were doing it together. So it's really nice of her.
It's really impressive because normally in our country you don't see professors in the lab, maybe for months. It's nice to see my supervisor also come to lab, and he taught me a lot of things in the lab. He was working with me alongside, and as we can see now that other professors are also doing this in Germany, which is a very good habit. And I think we should also carry this thing to our country. And like I know the professors, they already did their PhDs from Europe and US and other countries. They are very competent, but sometimes maybe they are very much intermingled with these um, office politics, I would say. I'm not sure. Maybe these administrative work more. Are you required to supervise some students, maybe master students or bachelor students? Are you supervising right now?
So yes, we are required to supervise master and bachelor students in our PhD because we it is a really good experience for us as well to get into these things from now on, because in the later stage of our career we will be supervising lots of PhD students as well. And yeah, but I don't have currently any students because I just started last year in September, August, and we are still setting up some things in the lab, and we are planning to. There are some students who are starting the internships in October this year. So yeah.
Okay, but as we know that the internship students are not allowed to work in BCL3 lab, maybe only in BSL2 you can have the internees. But for the master thesis, are they allowed to do work in the master in the BC3 lab? Maybe with you, can you supervise them in the BC3 as well?
So unfortunately, in Germany, master students, bachelor students, they are not allowed to work in BSL 3, even if you are working with them together. So yeah, those interns they will be working only up to BSL 2 lab, and we are designing their project in a way that whatever there is something that has to be done in BSL 3, then we PhD students will do it for them, and they will do whatever they can in up to the BSL2 lab. Yeah.
Yeah, so someone was asking me about this thing, maybe a master student, so it was an answer for him. Also, I didn't know about this thing because I'm also working in S2 laboratory, which is BSL2, but I have some things to be done in the BSL3, so I'm still planning for that. And does your PhD make you financially stable? Because some people have beliefs that when you go to Germany and have these PhD positions, you're a very rich man. How do you see that?
Yes, so PhD salaries in Germany, if you are an employee and you are not a scholarship recipient, so there is a difference. If you are an employee, you are hired as an employee, you have a contract of an employee, so you get all the benefits, such as you get the health insurance from the university, you get pension insurance, you get social security insurance, you get the unemployment insurance, and also you get the transportation allowance. So your transportation is also subsidized by your institute or university. And of course, the salaries are really good in Germany as compared to France. Like I did my master's in France, so I had offers from France for my PhD, from UK, from Austria, from Poland, but from all of those PhDs, Germany had the highest salary. And there are different kind of contracts. It depends on which contract you are hired. So the salaries could be um, gross salaries for first year PhD students average would be 3,000, 3,500, and the net would be somewhere 2,000 euros or 2,200 euros for the first year, and then every year you have an increase in salary like 150 or 200 euros net. So I think it's a really good financial support to the PhD students in Germany.
That's good. And now you can see that the scholarship holders are not that rich, but the people who are in the employment, who are employed by the university in these projects, they are a little bit richer than us. I'm being a DAID student, so I'm not that rich, but everything is perfect here. All the things are covered. They can give you rent subsidy as well if you are living in a city which where the accommodation is very expensive. So it's based on the calculation. They will give you some rent subsidy, and also your groceries and everything is fully covered in this thing, and you can have a little bit saving as well after these all the things. Okay, now the questions comes. For example, if someone want to go for the PhD in this direction, what would be your suggestion to your younger self? For example, if you were doing BS, maybe bachelor's or master's somewhere, because if somebody asks me, I tell them that you should be like preparing yourself for this position before, yeah, maybe 2 years or 1 year, because this is not something that you can just directly approach and have these positions or things. You need to add a lot of things on your CV, maybe work on your profile. But what is like something that can be done and the students will be very much eligible in the future? What's the best thing that they can do? Maybe the master students are more and the master students, they need this right now, because someone who is in the first semester or second semester, what they should do, maybe the bachelor. And also if you can um, okay, we will just jump there.
So I think if you really want to do a PhD, so you should really your plan to really make your profile good from bachelor's. It's possible even from masters, but then it gets more difficult. So I personally was sure in my bachelor's that I would like to do a master's and abroad and PhD from abroad. So I started preparing for my master's and of course in long run PhD in the fifth semester of my bachelor's. So started preparing for IELTS in fifth and sixth semester, and then by the end of my seventh semester I gave the IELTS, because for getting a good master scholarship you really need to have IELTS, although it was not mandatory for some scholarships, but it is always a plus point to have IELTS. So I started preparing for IELTS during my bachelor's, and also I took a lot of online courses related to my research interests, which I wanted to pursue in my master's and in the long run in PhD. So I agree that you don't know in bachelor's what you want to do for master's or PhD, but at least you have a broader field or domain which you find interesting. For me, it was always infectious disease research. So I did infectious disease related online courses from Coursera, from WHO and other websites where you can do online courses. And also I did some co-curricular activities during my bachelor's which could help improve my profile in a general way. And also I think it is very important, and people from Pakistan, they don't really care much about their GPA. So we hear it a lot, and I also heard it really a lot during my bachelor's, that GPA doesn't matter. So um, maybe it doesn't matter for someone abilities, like you cannot judge someone from their GPA if they are really intelligent, genius, or hardworking, but it's an important part of your profile for master scholarships, because at master scholarships the first criteria, if you want to go for master scholarship abroad, the first criteria that admission committee really looks at is your GPA. The higher GPA you have, a higher percentage you will get in that criteria. Like there are fixed marks for your GPA. During my masters, I was always clear that I want to do a PhD. So again, I was sure that even during PhD, they will look at my grades. So I was working really hard to have nice grades as well. And of course, clearing your concepts, it's really important for your bachelor's and also for masters. But your concept, it would be, they would get an idea by asking you questions, but it cannot compensate for your grades that you have. Even if you are really conceptual person, but if your grades are not good, you will get no marks in the GPA criteria. The concepts and your critical thinking and your understanding, it has a different criteria marks. So you will get marks in that part, but if you don't have good grades, then you cannot get the master scholarship. So, or even for PhD, there is a fixed criteria. Depending on the PhD position, they look at your grades as well. So during my masters, I always wanted to have nice grades. And again, during my masters, I did really a lot of online courses. I kept increasing my knowledge, although I had a lot of courses which I had to really clear in my masters, but even for that, I was sure. So during my masters, I worked a lot on my during my internships and thesis, so that I could get a nice PhD position.
But I must say one thing, that uh, I was not of the opinion that GPA matters, because all my life I believe that marks doesn't matter. But now I must agree with the brother Muhammad Nadeem, because he is more expert than me on this, because he has multiple scholarship offers and I have only one. And he is really expert, and already he proved that GPA matters. But I would say that if you have 3.6 GPA or maybe 3.8 GPA, it's enough for you. And also with the GPA, for example, if you have 4 GPA but no conceptual background, or maybe no co-curricular activities like conferences, or maybe some online courses, maybe some volunteer activities, because in Germany I realized that these people are also um, they consider this very good in your application if you have some volunteer activities, like in US as well. If you have taught something in elementary schools experience, for example, if you are a teacher at the primary school, it's a very good sign that you taught something in the school, and they will give you extra marks for this. And in the BS, as brother mentioned about the 2 internships, which were optional, and I did the same 1 year in hospital, and it increased my chances of selection, like by maybe fourfold, I would say, many folds. And it's a very good thing, and thank you for that.
Always would be putting my LinkedIn in the description and my email address as well. So if you have any questions, any specific questions, please, like not general questions, how I
How to
apply,
apply?
yeah, and please guide me. So I get hundreds of those messages already. So I used to have replied to them before, but now I don't have time to reply to them. So I will reply if you have really some specific question and which you couldn't find in the Google or some general information. So you can message me on LinkedIn or by email, and I wish you best luck.
One very important point that I want to mention, maybe 2 points for you, it's very important. Me and Nadeem bhai, we are sitting here and we both have a very strong network in universities. The networking will give you edge. It is a differentiating factor between, it will stand you out from the crowd. If 10 people are applying and you have good network and good communication skill, which is very much necessary, because I was a science communicator in Pakistan, so I know how to navigate the path and how to approach to the question. And they were asking me, and for example, I met a lot of PhD students here because being a DAD student, we go to the workshops organized by the DAD from other universities, and I would say that 85% or 90% students they selected were based on communication. They are very much expert in communication. If you ask them any question in their field, they're very confident and they can communicate. Now you see that Nadeem bhai also have a very good networking, because I know him personally, and he uh, established it networking, and he is going to conferences, he is going to seminars, and he is involved in 3 4 projects. This is very much necessary. I'm here just because of the network, because the person who I working who with whom I'm working now in Germany, I know him. I interacted with him in 2022, and then I shortlisted him, and I said I will email him after my masters. So I had been following him, and now I'm working with him. So it's just because I was proactive, and since 2 years ago I already shortlisted him and I was following him. You should also do that. Maybe conferences are the gold mine to find your supervisor. Maybe LinkedIn is also a gold mine. Just engage with the posts, comments, and things, and then you can have find someone. Thank you and best of luck.